Are you an indie podcast or content creator looking to reach a wider audience? Look no further. Introducing Podcastic, the ultimate podcast network designed exclusively for indie creators like you. At Podcastic, we believe in the power of unique voices and fresh perspectives. We're here to amplify your passion and creativity, connecting you with a growing community of engaged listeners who crave original content. Podcastic is more than just a platform. It's a support system built for indie podcasters, offering a range of resources to help you succeed. From tailored promotional campaigns to professional production assistance, we're here to help you shine. Our intuitive platform makes it easy for you to be seen and heard. We do all the heavy lifting for you. You just show up and create. Plus, with our advanced analytics, you'll gain valuable insights into your audience's preferences, allowing you to refine your content and grow your fan base. Ignite your passion, expand your reach, and thrive with podcasting. Visit our website at www.podcasticlife.com to get started. Podcasting, the home for indie podcasts and content creators.
The content you're about to hear is a part of a paid programming segment. The views, opinions, and statements expressed belong solely to the sponsor and do not reflect those of Podcastic or its host. This segment is for informational and promotional purposes only and should not be considered as advice or endorsement. Listener discretion is advised.
Good day, good people, and welcome to another purpose-filled episode of Lessons for the Journey. Live here on Facebook at Friday at 12 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. I am your host, Dr. Heather Heteru, and I share this studio with my sister, our co-host, motivational healer, Ma'at Sabah. And every episode we explore, we realign women's wellness, spiritual insights, healthy relationships, and real-life journey lessons. Every conversation is designed to help you understand your why, heal emotional patterns, and grow in spiritual maturity as you move differently in your next chapter life and relationships. If you're seeking clarity, healing, empowerment, this podcast is for you. We challenge you to take what resonates with you, and the rest, put a pin in it for later, because it is something that you are going to need on this amazing journey of self-discovery. And one of the things that we want you to do to prepare is to make sure that you have your tools. Have your journal, your pen, your water. Water is always important in this journey of self-discovery because it helps you to stay hydrated, receive new information, and gets you out of survival mode, as dehydration puts your body in survival mode, and so that it's easier for you to take in new information and not be so quick to reject it. And so, as we get started today, we use our My Memos or Me and Myself and I cards to connect with our inner guidance. And one of the reasons why we use these cards is to awaken that inner self, the part of us that really contemplates questions and looks for solutions in the environment. And so by using these cards, it gives you an opportunity and us an opportunity to center and ground in one thought so that we can move forward in this conversation, which is a great conversation that we're going to have today. I'm so super excited about this topic. And so I have asked my sister if we could use my memos today. And so everybody in the studio participates. We pull a card and then we share the response that comes to us, what's on the top of our head. And you as listeners and those who are viewing, we need for you to do the same. So contemplate the question and how you might answer it. And then throughout today, we'll give you our call-in number so that you can respond. You can comment if you're watching us on Facebook. You can comment in the comment section, or you can call in with your thoughts or what you want to share, or you have a common experience or question. So we're going to start. I'm going to be the first to pull. Last time I went to the bottom of the card bag. Now I'm going to the middle. And I'm going to pass it to our engineer, Lexi, so she can pull her card. Oh, I know this is going to be retrograde-like conversation. Okay. My card says, praise the slightest and every improvement that someone makes, especially children. Praise the slightest and every improvement that someone makes, especially children. I can do that. And I'm getting better at that, too. Because sometimes, even for myself, I realize that even when I have a small victory or when I have a victory, I make light of it and I nod my head and I keep going to the next, because there's always something coming up immediately behind whatever I do. But I think at this point, I want to do more than just nod. And I think this is a great reminder of that. I want to do more than just nod at something that I have achieved or accomplished, that I take a moment really and take it in, and then I can move on versus, just making so light of something that, seems for me to be routine, because I always have something moving in my life and always something moving in my world. And so I think that's a great way to acknowledge it and to be reminded. So thank you, universe. Lexi, you want to try your card?
Mine says, if you want to change someone else's behavior, you must first change your own.
Wow. Her message, if you didn't hear it, was, if you want to change someone else's behavior, you must change your own. Wow. Thank you. My aunt.
I like these cards, but I don't like them.
Right. I know, right?
So mine says, planning ahead eliminates stress during the difficult seasons in your life. And that is something that is a constant for me about being prepared for the things that you can prepare for. So, perfect example, when it's time, I know I do the podcast every Friday, right? I know that. So I should have everything ready to go the Friday that I finish the show and get everything ready for the next Friday. But do I do that? No. So then come Friday, I'm, scraping, trying to put things together and try and find this and try and find that. And that's been something that's been consistent with me about not being prepared. And then when the last minute comes and I'm scrambling, then I'm stressed out. So, this is a reminder again, like today when I came in, my lens fell out of my glasses, left my phone in the car. One thing after another, and I should have been prepared ahead of time. So this is just, another nudge from the spirit realm. It's like, pull it together, girl. Pull it together.
Yes, I know that only too well. And it's so strange, but, I'm like, well, part of this is what spirit gives me. Like, I print out our topics the day of the podcast, because it doesn't come to me before that.
Mm-hmm. You get a pass for that, though.
Do I?
Yeah. You can't do it unless spirit gives it to you. But
Absolutely.
That has nothing to do with, you have a trip and you wait until 30 minutes before you have to get to the airport to pack.
Right.
That's different.
True. That's different.
So we'll give you a pat on the back. See,
all right.
You got a pat on the back.
Thank you. I need the encouragement at every turn. Well, my friends and family out there listening, today's topic is called the Sanctuary for the Goddess. Sanctuary for the Goddess. And I think this is a really important conversation, especially for our sisters who are walking the Goddess path, who are walking in this healing path, and those who are finding their way. And to help make some distinctions, some years ago on this journey, Spirit gave me insight into the different spiritual roles of women and the 3 areas that they fall. And of course, these are broad areas. So the first one is the work of the woman, right? The work of the woman is our becoming. That is the state of becoming. That is taking in new information. That is awakening. And the second is the queen. And I know a lot of people use queen in a variety of ways for acknowledgement. But the way that Spirit gave it to me was that queens build. They build family. They build community. They build business. They build opportunities for others. They build resources. And so the work of the queen is to build. And then thirdly, the work of the goddess is to heal. It is to heal herself. It is to heal her family. It is to heal the community. It's to heal the environment. It is to heal the world. And so I'm starting this conversation with a reflection. I always write a reflection on the topic when it's given to me so that I can ground myself in the story and be able to hear what Spirit gives to me after. So I'm going to share with you this reflection that when I was given this topic, how it started to resonate with me. This is when I began my intentional journey of self-discovery. I was led to a book called The Millionth Circle. It was written in 1999. The writer Jean Shinoda Bolen described how women across the world have been drawn to gathering in groups, circles, tribes with the purpose of healing, energetic connections, and holding space and intention for each other. The act of the energetic connection grows in momentum, sharing a common signal across time and space, drawing other women across time and space to do the same. So about 25 years ago that I saw and recognized it firsthand. I saw it in my youth with my crew. So we had a crew called the Sweethearts, and it was about 12 of us, and it was just hanging out together and, kind of moving in and out of the circle of support and of just growing up being a teenager, going out and learning and sharing stories and those kinds of things. But I started to notice it again, and this is part of my reflecting back. Not that I understood it when I was in it. It wasn't until I got the insight and I understood how this momentum continues to carry throughout your life. And so then I started to acknowledge it as a woman, where I started to connect with women of this like energy, and we would be in this space of study and of sharing and of growing in this energetic connection until that circle no longer served us. And one of the areas that I had issue, and I still work through this, is one of my 5 strongholds is issues of rejection and abandonment. And so just a heads up that the 5 strongholds are abandonment, rejection, pride, control, and distraction. These are 5 strongholds that all of us face. It is in a different order of priority, and how we handle it or live through it or recognize it is going to be different for everyone. But these are the foundation of these strongholds is within all of us, especially us as women. And so because I know I had issues with abandonment, I know that now in my journey, that when my circles would start to break up, I would take it very, very personal. I mean, I would fall into a depression behind it. Why I couldn't accept that people were no longer connected in the way that we were before. And it was a really, really difficult time for me when those situations would happen. And I would take it personal and internalize it and, try to get to the bottom of why. And some people, they didn't care one way or the other like I cared. And so I couldn't understand why it was such an emotional time for me when those circles would disassemble or just the cycle of it had worn its course. But I had to grow into that understanding. And also that I would encourage you to also reflect. Maybe you had a circle of friends and it was just 2 or 3 of you in a circle of friendship, and it started to change or shift, or somebody moved away, or whatever the change and the shift may happen was also an indicator that it was time for it it was a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And that season for that relationship and that bank of knowledge or energy that you shared had come to an end. And so I just want to encourage those of you who have had that part of your journey express that way, where it was very difficult to let people go, or the realization that circle no longer has the closeness or the purpose that it had before, that it's okay. It's okay. It's in good timing. It is in good season. And so to be okay within yourself, to look back at, one, why it is such an emotional connection. And the second thing is that why is it that you hold it so personal and so dear? The other part is that you get to embrace that as you build new circles. And some women have issues with broken trust that come out of that that season that is no longer for a woman or a group of women to be together. And so just to be, I want you to be mindful of that, because that's a really important piece of this. And the realization is that when there are a million such circles around the world, we will reach critical mass and see a paradigm shift, calling the energetic connection of the sacred feminine to rise for a mass healing across the earth. And so that is one of the reasons why women are growing. It's growing in momentum of coming together as sister circles or tribes or support groups, or it could be around a topic. It could be around we're doing art or art therapy. We're doing bowling. We're going roller skating. We're doing these things as a group. It is the draw. It is the draw of that millionth circle. And so we are seeing the rise of the sacred feminine even every day. We're seeing women shifting roles. We're seeing women in leadership roles. We're seeing women who are changing the way that the world is being viewed. And so this is part of that momentum, and why the sanctuary for the goddess is important in our understanding is framing it, because her work is the healing work of the earth and the world. So my aunt, I'm going to put you on the spot, of course, because I always pitch the ball back to you. But I want to first give our call-in number. Our number is 810-560-0658. Again, that's 810-560-0658. And so I want to take a moment and just talk about, different points. Or let me start with our opening question. Where have you found yourself in women's groups, circles, tribes in your journey? That is your question, my sister.
Where have I found myself?
Mm-hmm. Have you seen where you have naturally come together with women, and whether it's a circle, a tribe, whatever you might call it, because, we call it different things by different names.
Mm-hmm. I have one main one of probably about maybe 5 women. And then I have access to others. I put it that way. Mm-hmm. So it's not that that I communicate with them on a regular basis, but I could, because everybody supports each other. So usually the people in my women's circle have their own businesses, and most of them have businesses directed to other women. So we can pick up the phone and call each other at any given time, but everybody's doing their business. And so it's not like we communicate regularly, but it's just a phone call away. So if somebody's doing something and they need the support, they'll give a call. Or if you need, just to bounce some ideas off of somebody, if you need to vent, whatever, it's just a phone call away. But there are several offshoot women's groups that I'm indirectly involved with, but one core, I think I'll put it that way.
Okay.
And outside of my immediate family, because my mom, my sister, my daughter, my granddaughter, and my nieces we're very close, all of us. So that's like my personal tribe too. Mm-hmm. So that's another sister group.
Yes, for sure. And and it's funny because sometimes we think because we're related. And if you can share, I know you have a saying around choosing your family and those that chose you. I forget how you.
I think it was.
You can choose your friends or family. I know, right?
It's something about just people. Just because they're related to by blood doesn't make them your family.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah, you're like your. They will be your relatives. Just because you're related by blood does not make them your family. They can just be relatives. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times what I found is that people who are in the spiritual community, a lot of them have toxic relationships, so they have toxic family circles, the family dynamics. And so especially if you are the one that was the different one, the black sheep in the family, the weirdo, which are actually the teacher and the healer for the family, they just don't know it yet. And some people don't know that they are that for the family either yet. Their journey will lead them into that direction. And so they try to create family with their family, but those will be your relatives, and your family will be your spiritual group that you will draw to you when it's time.
Yes. I mean, that was such a profound insight, especially, and it doesn't necessarily mean that your family is toxic. It just means that it's not the best fit for where you are on this journey, that there are people that may surround you or be drawn to you that feel more like family. It feels more like home because of the like journey or the like vision or the similarities that you have. And so it just feels more safe and comfortable to be able to share with people who understand what you're going through, understand what you're seeing and having as experiences. And so it's an important distinction. And I like that because it doesn't take away from the value or importance of your blood relatives, but it does also give you a connection outside of that is and feels like family. And
have you, like, and a good analogy is, if you've been around, been in the hospital or at the hospital with someone, and the doctors are coming in the room, and they start talking medical talk, and you're looking like, okay, sounds like foreign language to you. But amongst their circle, everybody has the same language. So that's in any field that you get into. If you get into the technological field, there's be certain words that they use that people in that field understand. Everybody else is scratching their forehead like, okay. So it's the same thing with your family. When you have a spiritual family, your conversations are the same. And your blood family or your relatives might not be able to relate because they don't understand that lingo. They're not there. They don't have that knowledge base. That's not their walk. And so they don't understand the conversation that you would have with a person who's in your spiritual circle. So it's no less love to your relatives or your blood family. It's just that you guys are in different spaces, and it's okay.
Ma, can you cover the overview for the Sanctuary of the Goddess?
Okay. To understand the Sanctuary of the Goddess, you must understand the Goddess and her importance to the family, environment, community, and the world. Goddesses were called from birth and have had and or shared in the challenges of traumas of women. She needed to understand the sacredness and pain of life to help establish its joys. She moves through singleness and fellowship, but is often engaged in moments of solitude.
What is your thoughts on that? Do you find that true of yourself? Well, let me step back and ask you, do you acknowledge yourself as a goddess?
I do. I do. I always knew I was different, and everybody else did too. They treated me different in a nice, polite kind of way. And that I think maybe they didn't know why I was different. I clearly didn't know why I was different. But early on, I would like a certain type of dress, like loose fitting, cowl necks, which weren't easy to find back then. I was always a loner. I've always been a loner. So I did not have to be around a lot of people, and actually didn't even like being around a lot of people. And to this day, I don't. It's just it's just not. It's not something that I have an interest in, and it doesn't really feel good to me. So.
Sound familiar?
Yeah, right. I mean,
I just had this conversation with our engineer earlier.
Yeah, and it's no diss to anybody, but typically, goddesses are at varying degrees of being empaths, and so when you're empathic, you feel other people's energy, and so there's certain places that you don't like to go to, or are very uncomfortable to go to because you're feeling everybody's stuff. Usually funerals, large gatherings, and maybe parties and that type of thing. It's like it's very uncomfortable energetically to go to these places, where instead you would like to stay home. Usually they're homebodies, or like to be out in nature, especially by water, in the trees, in a area, a park where there's a lot of trees, and that's usually common. And then they seek to find their circle. They seek to find people that have the same language and conversation as they do. And then when you meet that person, and you're probably, when you were coming up, the only one who was like you that you knew. So you didn't have anybody to bounce that off of. And, am I crazy? Like, why am I feeling these things? And why do I feel different? Why is everybody treating me different? Mm-hmm. But as time goes on and you start to grow and elevate into your role as the goddess or the god, your spiritual elevation, you will start to meet people of like minds, like energies, and like spirits that you can bounce things off of. And then when you find them, you guys probably talk for like 8 hours in a row,
right. Mm-hmm.
nonstop, because you finally have somebody that you can connect with. They understand. And then you know that I'm not crazy. All the things I was feeling, the things I've seen, the dreams I've had, the visions that I've had, I'm not crazy. Mm-hmm. And that usually goes along with it. So when you have a group of women that you can connect with, and depending on the age, so especially if they're mothers, there's something, that's a whole different dynamic when you have goddesses that are mothers as well, mm-hmm. and are business women, or the one in the family, the foundation in the family, the matriarch. So there are certain energies that come along with that as well. So did I go around the circle? Did I answer the question?
No, you answered the question.
Okay.
But I would like for you to share, like, how did you find the connection with your goddess? And please share the connection with your goddess.
When I had a word to put on it?
And the name, because the name is really important. The name and an energetic signature that goes with that name.
So it was something I always felt, but I didn't have a word to put on it to make it so that my brain can process that, to have a file to put in my file drawer in my head. So it started with when I met my spiritual sister, Goddess. Mm-hmm. We talked for there's a whole story behind that, but we talked for 3 hours nonstop. We were having the same dreams, the same visions. And when in talking to her, she makes garments for the goddess. And that was the first time that I had a word to put on what I was feeling, what I was going through. I said, oh, now that all of that makes sense now. Now, these are the clothes to go with what I've always felt, but I did not know what I felt because there was nothing in my world. There's nothing I ever saw on TV. I've never seen it in a book, a magazine. I've never seen anybody else that had that same conversation, that wore a particular kind of clothes. I never saw it. So then when we met, that's when it became real. And that was the word that came along with that knowing, that consciousness that I've always had since a child, but no word to put on it. And it was the goddess.
And your name as a goddess, can you share that? Because I think that's an important, because what I have come to understand is that when you are in this realm of acceptance, your name changes. Yeah.
That's not unusual. People to change their name.
Right. Or your name to be given to you.
Right. Well, that's what happened to me.
Right. So please share that so that they have that connection to understand it.
So I had a study group. I had a Black History study group, and the name we ended up with was Shepenwet Ma'at. I forgot what Shepenwet means, but I think it was Seekers of Truth, because Ma'at means truth. And one of the guys in the group was telling me, he started calling me Ma'at, and I said, don't call me that. Don't call me that, because I found out later, when you accept the name of a deity, then you have to uphold that energy and the consciousness of that deity. Ma'at means truth, balance, justice, harmony, reciprocity, right order, and universal law. I was not trying to be all that. Didn't know how. Had no interest in it. He refused to stop calling me that, so he kept calling me that. And then a person I was in a relationship at the time, he started calling me that. I'm like, look, I'm not trying to be that. I fought this for almost 2 years. And then one night I had a spiritual experience that was so profound. It's too long to go into now, but it was so profound. And in that experience, I was told spiritually that I had to accept the name. And so I did. And so at that point, I went to my parents and I asked them permission to legally change my name. They both granted me that. They blessed me with that, and so that's what I did. I was tested with the name, where there was a situation that happened, and it ended up being a legal situation that if I had lied, nobody would have known but me and God. If I told the truth, I faced jail. I chose to tell the truth and let the chips fall where they may. Before I, called my attorney and everything, I made sure my paperwork was in order. So if anything happened when I went to go to court, that it would be taken care of about where my children would go and that type of thing, my paperwork and all of that. So I ended up telling the truth, and everything worked out perfectly smooth. So that was a test, and I've been through many others to confirm and prove, for me to prove myself worthy. So that's how that happened in my world.
Mm-hmm. And so I use Heather Heteru because it is the same name. What I uncovered and how I uncovered my name, I had this, I think everybody has that little thing that they do, like the pastime. Some people tap on their ink pen. Some people snap their bubble gum. Some people, doodle. Well, my idiosyncrasy was that I would always take apart my name and make other words out of my name. Like I would obsess over, I'm at 32 now, right? And so my name, Heather, I would take it apart and keep creating words out of it. And I was like, one day I was like, why is this such a thing for me? This is it's like a real thing. What is it about my name that I have to keep taking it apart and putting back together with new words? And so I said, let me look back. Let me see what my name means. At first, I asked my parents, what did my name mean? They told me what it meant. And I was like, oh, okay. And I said, well, let me look it up in a dictionary. I looked it up in a dictionary. And I was like, it's something behind that. Let me keep going. And then I started to, started to study more of our ancient Kemetic heritage. And I realized that there are no vowels. So now I got to what does my name look like without the vowels? And so in my studies, I kept going further and further and further. And I said, so this is my name without the vowels. And so I said, I wonder what it means with the Greeks. For some reason, I got on because I always enjoyed the mythologies, like the Zeus and all that stuff. And I was like, yeah, no, that's not where it starts. This is the cover story. Where is it further back? And that's how I uncovered the Neteru and got back into ancient Kemetic heritage. And as I continued to go back, I kept seeing Heather. So it started off with Hera, and I was like, yeah, no, that's Greek. What's before? Then I came up with the Roman version, which was Hathor. I went back for that, and it kept going further and further back into ancient Kemetic heritage. And it was Hathor, it was Heteru, it was Het-Hert, but it was my name over and over again with the letters mixed around, right? And so when I started to understand, as I was looking back at the name and the word itself, I started to connect with the Neteru, who is Hathor, Heteru, or Het-Hert, whichever one you want to use. But as I started to research who she was, the attributes all also mirrored my life. I have always, from the time I could sit up in the car, was always fascinated with cows. And Het-Heru is the cow goddess. She is she's depicted as a cow head goddess. She's depicted, her symbol is the sun disk with cow horns. And I was always fascinated with that. Mm-hmm. And so the more I started to dig, the more attributes I started to see represented me. And so from the mother, from the nurturer, from sacred sexuality to the person also that helps to escort life and death, not in the same way that my aunt does, but it is the bringer of life and the one that also escorts that life. And so, and in my life, that has been my role. I've taken care of my grandparents and others who were either coming into the world or making their transition out. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't a space that was fear-based for me. I'm not afraid to touch, bodies that no longer have a spirit. Like, none of that stuff was the things that bothered me, because they were always the things of life. Now, at one point, I did have issues with grief. And that was another stage that helped me to see what my real work was. But I had to go through all of that first in order to understand it. So it would help me to establish my healing modalities. And we're going to get more into that as we talk about this second part, this part one about the goddess, about the goddess is a healing force in nature. And so I know that was a lot, but for those of you who are out there, my hope and my prayer is that something that we shared with you resonated with you so that you can either have your confirmation or your awakening about what path you may be on, and if you are on the goddess path. And so hopefully that there are some things that we're going to share kind of moving further into this conversation that will resonate with you as well. So part one about the goddess. The goddess is the healing force of nature. She is the spiritual and physical extension of nature herself. She is constantly seeking and drawn to new information and specializing in her craft. Some of the areas of that include gifts for healing. She has and is given different healing modalities and spiritual gifts to help her help herself at higher frequencies so that she can help empower others. She is naturally empathic, which you mentioned earlier. Most goddesses are empathic so that she can navigate and discern the various types of medicines necessary for a person's healing process. She has sacred duty. She is entrusted with a variety of sacred duties that are constantly drawing others in and out of season of change and flow. She is committed to the cause. Even when she is not engaged in physical work, she is engaged in spiritual work. Her work is toward the greater good, the collective vibrational rise of balance on the planet for the spaces she is in healing, and is the healing steward, meeting the collective work across the world. And that also tied into the Million Circle. Mm. And so I'm going to give you an opportunity to call in if you're listening and want to share your goddess story. You can call in at 810-560-0658, or you can also comment. I think it's important that if these things resonate with you, it's not your imagination, it's not in your mind, it is real experiences. And we share our journey, we share our life lessons so that you know and can have the confirmation that you are not alone, you are not crazy, but there is a special space and assignment that you have in this lifetime. And so
I want to share a couple of comments.
Oh, okay, great.
Riri says, I definitely align with that and always have. Y'all forgive me, I'm trying to do this. Why is this not going up? Okay, there we go. Okay, Queen Johanna, and my condolences to you, Johanna. She said, you guys forgive me, I'm trying to get this. Why is this not going up?
Because it's the last day of the retrograde.
And okay, here we go.
I know, it's strange.
Oh my God. Okay. She says, very deep that I tune in at this very moment. Last week around this time, I touched my daddy's body as he had transitioned. He died peacefully into his sleep. He just didn't wake up. I was not afraid of it. Let's see if I can.
Blessings.
It was beautiful. And Sister Hay says, I'm working out, else I would call in. But everything you all are saying definitely resonates with my goddess experience.
Blessings.
All right. Thank you, sisters, for sharing. And my mommy's on. Hi, Mom.
Hey, Mama Bingham. Yes, and so I'm so glad that you guys are reaching out and commenting, because people really need to know that this is a real experience and that we are on assignment. And so one of the insights for why we had to acknowledge the sanctuary of the goddess, there's still more to come in this conversation, so we're going to get into that. But it's important to understand why she is the way she is. You mentioned being in solitude, and your favorite thing is not to be just engaged with people and all those types of environments, and why. Again, we kind of had this conversation a little bit before the podcast started, but that's a cue. So these are breadcrumbs, right? These are cues and clues to what's next and what's on your path. And I'm saying that for those who need to hear that today. All right. So can you take the, you said you had something else that you wanted to comment on, or you want to jump into part 2?
The gifts for healing one.
Mm-hmm. The modalities.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the women too are noticing that they are feeling led, either doing maybe some type of healing techniques like Reiki or breath therapies and that type of thing,
or even cards. A lot of it's a lot of sisters now that either are creating their own cards or really resonating with the tarot type cards, or however, I'm calling them tarot cards just as a general topic, but the cards are for different purposes. Some is to help you find where in your body is, dis-ease or discomfort. I mean, there are a lot of different ways that process is coming forth. So go ahead.
Yep. The other thing too is women being drawn towards nature, either gardens, or they're feeling compelled to come up with some types of remedies in their home, whether it's illnesses for themselves or other people. They're feeling drawn towards making certain things like soaps and lotions and creams and all of that. Candles.
Yep.
All of that is goddess work. This is ancient knowledge that is reemerging in your spirit, in your DNA, that you've done before. That's why you're drawn to it now. It's time to do it again. It's time to bring all of this back, because we have a lot of healing work that needs to be done in this world and in this community. And everybody is needed with the gift that they have to bring to the world. I don't care if it's 50 women, 1,000 women making candles. You are the only one that puts your energy in that candle.
Yes.
That's specific to you and your energy and your frequency and your intent. So you can get candles from whoever. You can get certain remedies from whoever you feel led to. So I'm real strong on intent and energy. It could be a table full of herbal teas, but I feel drawn more to one or two than I do all the rest of them. There's something energetically there that is drawing me to that is best and more beneficial towards me or whoever it is that I'm buying it for. So being tapping into our intuition, our inner guidance system, your spirit, whatever word you want to call it, is one of the most important things that you can do. And let it guide you. And you're going to question it. You're going to question it. It might even be a part of you that fights it. But follow that intuition, because it's one of the things that you're here for, to serve humanity. This is about serving humanity and assisting people in elevating. And because we're talking about women, whether you have a child or not, you're still a mother. You mother somebody. And it's really important that we do what we need to do to assist in the protection and elevation of our children. So these different modalities that you have, they're not just for you. They're for the people who you are assigned to assist. It might be 5 people, it might be 5 million. So stay in alignment with whatever it is that you're spiritually drawn to, and pay attention to intuition, and connect with another group of women. Find your circle. Connect with women who either have the knowledge base that you have or that you're looking for, or that bare minimum, they could be a support system. So I think that's really important. I think we talked about everything else.
And so part 2, the need for sanctuary. Do you mind?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, the need for sanctuary is extremely important to the goddess. It means a sacred space. She has safe space to renew, restore, reflect, remember, and reconnect. Being a beacon of hope. To have sanctuary as a goddess means embodying a consecrated, holy, and safe space, acting as a refuge and a beacon of hope, especially when circumstances seem strained. Conscious awareness. It signifies a deep, inner-centered state of consciousness, often centered in and affecting mainly the heart chakra. Although it impacts the movement through the chakras from the lower self to the higher self. And peace and clarity. It is where she retreats to a place that brings peace, clarity, and protection to both the self and others.
That need for sanctuary. You can get tired. You can feel drained and worn out, especially because you're an empath. When you're an empath, and there are growing levels of empathic abilities. And we're at different stages. And what was given to me is that one of the higher stages of an empath is when you can take that energy and take that energy that you are supporting from someone else, create something from it, and put that creativity and that beauty back into the world. It is the same energy transformed. You become an alchemist. So one of the outcomes of being an empath and really embracing it is to become an alchemist, to be able to change that energy into something positive and put it back into the world in perfect use. That is needed for balance, that's needed for honoring, that's needed for healing. And some of the healing modalities are connected to that alchemy. And sometimes she takes her own pain and creates something beautiful from it. She can create a painting from it. She can create music from it. Poetry. All of these are different ways that as an empath and embracing that, putting something back in the world shows up. And so it may be your own pain or trauma or drama or journey, but it also could be somebody else's that you're channeling for them, with them, and putting back out in the world. Such an important insight and understanding to have when you carry such a profound gift. And it actually, being an empath is a spiritual gift. And it is given to those of us that can manage it. And you need to grow into that management. Some people, understand it right away. Sometimes it takes longer. And sometimes you just have to see it in action in someone else. And so I think that's a really important space to be. And you have your sanctuary. Sometimes you find that in a circle or in your tribe or somebody else that understands it. And so for my goddess circle, it was the space that I found the understanding. Like I could share and there is no judgment. There's no, the only question is to help me to get to my greater understanding or the greater insight. So the questions is not the same kind of question that I might get from my biological family. Why are you having visions? Do we need to schedule an appointment for you with a health professional? And why it may seem that way, if I took it to my goddess circle, it's not the same type of questioning because they have also had those experiences that, and again, all of it works together for our good. If you need that mental health support, then get it. If you need that sister circle support where they understand your language, get it. So it all can work together for your benefit. And so I don't want you to feel that you're being isolated when there are different paths that you have to walk. Any thoughts on that? So if you have feelings or thoughts, please give us a ring at 810-560-0658. If you have some thoughts or comments on the need for sanctuary, and that's for yourself or for someone that you might know, or your experience and you want to share that, please feel free to call in. So our part 3, this is about key aspects of divine sanctuary. The goddess herself is sacred, meaning she is set aside for a specific use and purpose. She not only requires sanctuary, but she also is sanctuary for others. She is the expression of consecrated presence. The goddess is the embodiment of a sacred space that is set aside, holy and devoted. She is a safe refuge, serving as a haven from worldly storms, violence, suffering, providing emotional or spiritual protection. She is inner peace and clarity. A state of inner sanctuary offers profound focus and the ability to gain clarity, understanding through life's higher and peaceful perspectives. She is and has deep self-worth. This archetype represents a solid, unshakable inner resilience and esteem and self-esteem built on internal spiritual strength. And she is a source of light, acting as a guide, a nurturing force, reminiscent of a lampshade in a holy place that brings hope, empathy, and unconditional love. And so those who come to her, she is also sanctuary. So if you've ever, helped somebody through a rough time in their life or a rough moment, you are their sanctuary. You are that safe space. You are the one that is protecting them and covering them and holding space and holding intention for them, which is extremely important in this role and the assignment that you're given at that moment. So your thoughts on this, the divine sanctuary, how she is a divine sanctuary?
I kind of wanted to go back to the need for sanctuary, the sacred space. Mm-hmm. I think is really, really important, especially in this day and time when there's so much chaos going on. Mm-hmm. That you find it is mandatory that you find some type of quiet space and sanctuary for yourself. I don't care if it's going and sitting in your car, separating yourself from other people and other energies, just so you can have a space to be still and be quiet. Also, to me, it's a good practice to have an altar in your home. And that is a space where, whatever it is that you can make, whatever space you can make for an altar on your entertainment center, or if you have a little place a table that you can make just for your altar, that's fine. But when you sit at your altar, you are basically training your mind, body, and spirit that now's the time to be still. Now's the time to shut everything out. Now's the time to focus. Now's the time to connect and go within, to be still, to get answers, to deflate, to detox mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And the more you use your altar, you'll find out when you sit down there, your body's going to go into autopilot, and you eventually almost immediately start to relax, because it's kind of like, it's kind of like when you get home from a stressful day at work, and it's like, oh God, I'm home. It's like that. And speaking of which, your home should be your sanctuary. You should not allow, under any circumstances, confusion, toxicity to the degree that you can, negativity. All of that energy affects everything and everyone in the household. And it sets the tone for your home when it should be the exact opposite. So you use your altar to go within and find the answers to how to create peace and balance within you, how to create peace and balance within your home, how to create peace and balance in your workplace. So that's where you get solutions. That's where you get the answers, is going within and getting it through from your higher self, through God, spirit, whatever word you want to put on it. That's why they call it an altar, to alter things, to change things.
That's good.
It's an altar. So I think that's really, really important. That's one of the beginning steps, is to get an altar.
That's awesome. And so when you think about, we talked about the need for sanctuary. We talked about being a sanctuary. As we look at the goddess as an archetype, she is the embodiment in the form of a woman. She has human frailty, needs, and duties, while she also represents a divine feminine capacity for creating safety, deep connection, and profound, tranquil inner world. She needs constant replenishing that most people do not recognize or understand. So when you have to withdraw and you feel that need that you can't be around people at this time, take that time. Some people may understand, some people may not. And also pay attention, because one of the opportunities that you have is to recognize when you are in a season or you are in a cycle. And so during that time, your body and the universe is telling you that this is the time. And it could be every Friday. It could be once a month. It could be during the course of the year, that you know that this is your sacred time, that you need to pull back. You need to reflect. You need to separate, sometimes even isolate, but you need to make that time and space for yourself to replenish. And again, it could happen during the course of a day, during the course of a week, a month, a year. But that understanding your pattern is going to be super important, because it will allow you to be hypersensitive and allow you to pull more information, insights, more gifts, more tools, more resources to you, because you're in a space where the universe is ready to pour into you in the way that it is. So just a heads up that there is a place for you, and you have a place in this world. So I wanted to make sure that I shared that with you. Ma, do you have anything? Oh, I'm sorry. You have anything that you want to share as we're closing out?
Well, one of the last things that came to me was getting body work done. Taking care of your body. We said spirit, mind, and body, but that could be getting massages, spiritual baths. As again, breath work. I think I brought that up earlier. So that's really important to do that as well, to release the energy that we have pent up. And because you're empathic, you take on other people's stuff. And if you don't know how to release it, it's going to compact. And then you're going to start having some kind of breakdown. Either you stress out really quick, anger real quick. You might start to get sick because you're holding on to stuff that does not belong to you. So energetically releasing that thing. And then if you don't know how to do that, that's what we're here for. Contact Heather and I to assist you in how to go about doing these things. So I guess I'll just go ahead and give my contact information since we're closing.
As you're closing, talk about some of those products that you offer, so they know that these are some of the places that they can get those things from too.
Okay, so I have a line of cards. Right now, the cards, the memos is the ones that we pulled today. I have Me, Myself, and I cards. Well, those are the ones, are questions that you ask yourself, and we use those often on the show as well. The upcoming ones that I have are called Shared Intimacies. It's going to be 3 decks of 3 stages of relationships, like icebreakers, when you're just getting into a relationship with somebody, and then when you are in committed relationships or already in one or about to be committed. So they increase in severity of questions, intensity. And then there's the Tie That Binds. That's a 2-deck. And those are questions from parent to child, to get to know each other as people, not as a parent and not as just a child, to know each person, know each other as a person. So those are some of the products. And then, of course, I have crystals, incense,
Pendulums,
sage smudge sticks. I carry all of that.
And what about things for the altar? You mentioned the altar.
Those will be crystals. I have spiritual bath salts. I have oils that complement the bath salts. Again, I said the crystals, smudges, things that hold your, put your smudge sticks out. So I have a whole variety of things. Again, you just contact me and let me know what you're interested in.
And books.
I've got my first book out. It's called, it's a series of memoirs called Messages for the Goddess, Memoirs on Life's Lessons. And the first book is called Alcohol or Spit, Which Would You Like? And that one is about telling the truth.
Mm. Oh, and how can they reach you?
So it's best to email me at relationshipfirstaid@yahoo. My website is relationshipfirstaid.com. Of course, on Facebook, it's Relationship First Aid, or my personal page, which is Ma'at Sabah, and Instagram is Relationship First Aid as well.
Thank you. And I just wanted to acknowledge that for those of you who are on this journey and you have sons or grandsons and you feel the disconnect between them, if you're facing the burnout from the attitudes and the mindset and the and not reaching them, we have what's coming up, and this is one of our flyers. We have the Emmy Way webinar, which is coming up on Thursday, March the 26th. The Emmy Way is we're going to walk through our ebook or our book that we have to help people to start to speak the language of boys. One of the bigger disconnects is that their behavior is actually communicating to us. And because we don't see behavior as communication, we see that as issue, we can miss the things that they're telling us that they need. And we can miss because we haven't talked about the language. And that was one of the things that we talked about earlier, is the importance of language. In and with you understanding it, you can understand how to reach and bridge the gap between your relationship with them and their relationship with you. And so we're excited to have you join us. It's a modest $27 for this webinar, which is, I know that's a big number, everybody's using, but it is very much worth every penny, especially if you're trying to build those bridges as a parent, grandparent, a teacher, or a youth practitioner. This is an opportunity for you to get some new skills and see some things differently than you may have before. And also, just to share that this conversation is going to continue, that we are going to keep building on the goddess. We're going to keep building on this insight and the tools that we need as we move forward. And so we just encourage you to join us every Friday at noon. And if you miss us at noon, tap into our YouTube channel. And you can find that at Dr. Heather Heteru, Personal Change Coach on YouTube. You can also tap into podcasting on Facebook, where it will repeat for a few weeks, and then it's off into the long distance. So we want you to connect. We want you to get the information. Grab the insights. Again, take what you need, put a pin in the rest for a time that is to come. My name is Dr. Heather Heteru. I am a personal change coach and village elder for Your Inspired Journey. You can reach me at 313-759-7855. That's 313-759-7855. You can reach me by my website at yourinspiredjourney.com. And you can also find me on social media. If you can't remember any of those, you can also do a Google search and you'll find me. This is what we do. This is part of my journey, and I am on assignment, and I want you to find yours and stay clear. Thanks for joining us.